All right, everybody knows exactly what day it is. It is hashtag Friday Pie Day. Hopefully everybody's having a good week. Hopefully everybody had a good Juneteenth yesterday if you're in the US and you celebrate that. If you're here from the future, hello from the past. We appreciate you for showing up. Make sure you smash the like button, the very least on your way in or on your way out, right? Now, we're going to talk about what's going on in the markets. We've got a few things that are happening, okay? We've got a little bit of news-based stuff, but we're going to get into the technical factors that are kind of influencing the market here in just a second. And then we're also going to talk about the altcoins, okay, and how the altcoins are reacting, because in my opinion, it's quite odd. In my opinion, it's quite odd the way that altcoins are moving and the way that altcoins are reacting, okay? And I think I've said this multiple times at this point, but it's different. It's very, very different right now what's going on in the market, right? So you've got your outliers, you've got your XRPs, you've got your Cardanos that, go crazy because, Trump tweets about them or whatever. You've got those. And then you look at all the other altcoins and you're like, what's going on with them? Well, we're going to try and decipher some stuff. We're going to talk about it a little bit. And, we've talked about it previously, and we'll get into the technical analysis behind that as well. So first and foremost, let's get into some of that news-based stuff that I was just talking about, right? This is a public service announcement for everybody, okay? There was a massive breach, 16 billion passwords, which I know it sounds like a lot, but we're talking, these 16 billion passwords could, they could belong to, 100 million people, right? So like a third of the US's population, right? Because if you got, 160 different passwords to 160 different sites and stuff, which I think we all probably do, this could be a little bit less. But in any case, there was a leak, okay? And they are putting out a public service announcement that says for Apple, Google, and Facebook users, it does pose potential risks for crypto holders, okay? And that's because if you run Google Chrome, right? If you run Safari browser, right? If you log into things through Google, like Gmail logins and stuff like that, like you click the little Google button, like log in with Google, these passwords could have gotten leaked. So you have to be cognizant of that. And best practice, just change your passwords, man. Just change your passwords. There's actually a thing, I got it right up here. It's called 1Password, okay? You can use that as well. And it's a very secure way of storing your passwords if you want to. So again, just be cognizant of that. Don't lose all your crypto because you got a password leak to your Coinbase or to your Binance or something like that. I know everybody has two-factor authentications, things of that sort. But it's not just that. This could get really nasty because say you do have, some type of a secure platform that's like a cloud service provider, a web service provider that basically, you store a bunch of your stuff on, then they go in and you've got your seed phrases and stuff like that in there. I don't know why you would have that, but a lot of people do. It's like exactly what we preach not to do is put your passwords and your seed phrases and things of that sort on your laptops. But, just in any case, just be really cognizant of this type of stuff. Okay. Now, inside of the crypto world, right, or the CNBC crypto world, right, the DOJ seizes a record $225 million in crypto tied to global pig butchering scams, okay, right? Largest ever seizure tied to pig butchering scams, okay? And no, it's not actual pigs being butchered like illegally. It's a type of scam that people run on the internet, okay? So for all those people that be thinking Tether's awesome, and I'm not saying that they're not awesome for this, okay? Just I'm hitting you with the caveat before anybody can say anything about it, okay? Anybody that thinks Tether's awesome, Tether did aid in the probe and kind of like helped track things down. So Tether is not decentralized like people think. A lot of these blockchain companies aren't what people think, right? Decentralized and stuff like that. So just be cognizant of that. Okay. So what's a pig butchering scam? Right here. Show you. A type of romance and investment scam. Wild. Using generative AI technology to facilitate crypto scams, which often entails scammers using the tech to impersonate other people using and generating realistic content. Dude, that's wild. So we're talking impersonating Elon Musk, impersonating Donald Trump. Hey, I'm going to get you in on this new coin, right? Personally, because I like you so much. I've never met you, but I'm going to do it. Or just one of your favorite influencers, right? And then they whip up some fake ass social platform, blah, blah, blah. And then they get a bunch of people to send money to these wallets, bang, bang, boom, all that type of stuff. Okay. Now, we did see Iran get hacked for about 90 milli vanilli. Okay. Woo. That's wild. So the Iran-Israeli conflict is still going on. There's bombs and missiles being thrown around and dropped all day, all night, every day. It's wild. I believe that England came out in favor of Israel. The United States came out in Israel. And I believe I was talking about this last week, why I didn't really understand how they can do what they're doing with impunity to a certain extent, right? And I think we figured it out. So it was brought to my attention that there is basically a fail-safe for Israel that basically says, if I go down, I'm taking everybody down with me. I don't know if this is true or not. I don't know if anybody can really know for sure if this is true or not, right? Because even if they come out and say this, they could be bluffing. Even if they don't come out and say it, they could have it in the background or they could not, right? Supposedly, there might be some things in Israel aimed at basically everyone, that if Israel falls, they're going to take everyone down with them, right? And I'm talking everybody, right? It's us, China, Europe, Russia, whoever, right? And so if you're wondering why, or potentially why, speculative, I must say that, Israel can do these things with impunity, that might have something to do with it, okay? So Novitex, hacked on Wednesday, 2 days ago, $90 million, full shutdown, the whole thing, okay? So the pro-Israeli group, I'm not going to try and pronounce that, okay? But they claimed responsibility using vanity wallets with messages like terrorist on them, and then burnt the funds and sent a political message, not for profit. Basically, we're taking all your money and then we're going to burn it. So, damn. And this is what I was talking about. I don't know if I was talking about this in my training or if I was talking about this the other week. But in any case, this is kind of what I was talking about with World War III is not going to be fought with bombs majority, most likely, right? There'll still be bombs. There'll still be soldiers. There'll still be fighting. There'll still be that stuff, right? It's going to be fought through technology, through shutting down people's power grids, through hacking government systems, right? And taking custody of certain vital government systems that could potentially topple a country. It's going to be this type of stuff through fiscal measures, right? Sanctions, hacks. You take people's money, you take people's infrastructure, and it's about the easiest way to bring a country to its knees, okay? So it's a pretty crazy statement to just come out and be like, bang, we're taking all your money and we're burning that stuff. But in any case, I mean, that's what's happening, man. Now, I do want to talk about the Fed rate decision, okay? Because this does affect global markets. Whether you like it, whether you hate it, irrelevant. We do need to talk about it. No interest rate hike, no interest rate cut, no interest rate nothing. Jerome Powell, I watched it. It was yesterday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. I watched it happen in real time. Literally watched dude step up to the mic. Hello. Good afternoon, actually, is what he says. Good afternoon. And then he goes off on this rant. Not rant, like obviously he's a very professional dude. But he goes off on this whole tangent that was so out of touch. It was laughable. It's like, and I said this in a couple of my videos inside of the Nordic Alpha Discord on my TA videos. They're either the Fed in the United States. There's two scenarios. One, they're either super out of touch with reality. Let's be real. That the probability of that being the case is basically 0.1%, right? Or two, they're making their own reality. They're making up their own reality, okay? Inflation, it's up. GDP came in negative for Q1 of 2025 for the United States. Bank of the European banks, cut rates. Japanese bank, cut rates. And we don't cut rates. Even though inflation's up, even though it's slowing, cool, whatever. It's slowing by X amount, right? Okay. Barely. Where's Donna? Where's my girl at?
Barely.
Inflation is slowing barely, right? Retail sales aren't awesome. Producer price index isn't awesome. You see the report that just came out from New York about manufacturing. It also wasn't awesome. Jobless claims, manufacturing sector, Israeli-Iran conflict, Ukraine-Russian conflict. Dollar is dropping as it pertains to its counterparts in other worldly currencies, dropping in value. Why are we not cutting rates? Well, the economy seems to be stabilizing. Bro, from what I see, the S&P's about to fall off a damn cliff. You know, if that's a stable economy, then God help us. New home builds down. Prospective home buyers down. Homes on the market for sale up substantially year over year. Wages down for the most part. I don't know, man. I don't know what the hell they're seeing, but maybe they have information that I don't have, right? But I feel like I read the same reports as him. In any case, Bitcoin is breaking down out of a bear flag right now. Okay, it's breaking down out of a bear flag. The bear flaggity, that bear flaggity. So, and you might look at this chart and you might say, Drew, it's in a downward sloping trend channel though. And downward sloping trend channels do not tend to break down. They usually tend to break up and out. And that's because if we just trend down forever, well, by golly, the asset just goes to $0. In the same sense that upward trending channels tend to break down. Because if we trend up forever, the assets just go to infinity. Right? So yes, absolutely. From an overarching perspective, yes, upward or downward sloping channels do tend to break out. Okay, I get that. We've tested this channel not once, we kissed it here, not twice, but 3 times, right? And subsequent rejections. We've tested the bottom end once, twice, pierced it here 3 times, and this would be your 4th. the more that you bang on a level like this or like this, the more likely it is to either break out or break down. It was Juneteenth yesterday, and I basically, in my analysis inside of the Nordic Alpha Discord, right, had this bull flag, or this bear flag, sorry, the bear fliggity. I said, hey, man, we could be breaking down from here, sometime soon, but, and this was yesterday, right? And I said, but it is a holiday today, bank holiday, federal holiday, Juneteenth, yesterday, June 19th. You might prepare for some volatility tomorrow because of the fact that there's no trading today in regular markets like the S&P, right? The equities markets, okay? And volatility we got a massive pump. Now, this did happen at like 4, 5 a.m. Eastern time, so I don't have expected anybody to see this, but here's the thing. You probably did know about this, right? At the very least, and then bang, right back down to the bottom end of the channel, shook everybody out that entered shorts here, right? Now, we could be breaking down outside of that bear flag, right? And where does that bear flag have a target to? Well, I'll show you. Right down now, right down now. About 75 to 80% of the measured move is about $100,000 to about $99,500. So if you do indeed break down out of this bear fliggity, it doesn't necessarily look awesome, right? And you need to close this candle to confirm that breakdown. Then you would like to see a bearish back test of it. Then you're targeting 99.5. Okay. Now, the other thing that you need to take into account is this. I mean, these things are getting wrecked, right? These things are getting wrecked, okay? Altcoins, listen, where's ETH? ETH's holding pretty steady, 25 hundo, stuff like that, right? Arbitrum down substantially, was at 31 cents, now it's at 29 cents. We're talking almost a 10%, or we're talking, it's a 2-cent decline. Essentially 5% down whenever Bitcoin is not at all 5% down, right? Bitcoin is like maybe 1% down, 2% down. Yeah, if you measure it from the top, it's like 2.76% down. So altcoins are hitting double the numbers, which is, we understand that happens. We understand that altcoins, hit about double the numbers whenever Bitcoin goes down. Look at Fartcoin. The fact that we live in we operate in a market that has a coin called Fartcoin is crazy to me. Hilariously crazy, but crazy nonetheless. So in any case, my point here is that if we do break down out of this bear flag, which we are really, really trying to do it, and it is not even holding that 103 level right now. It's trying to hold the 103 level. We are trying to take out these lows right here. These lows are at 102.8. You take that out, that's the gateway to 100K, okay? And look at it go, and look at it go. It's like literally trying to prove my point for me while we're on the stream. So it's about to break this low. Let's see what happens, right? My magnet tool. Let's see if it happens, man. It might happen right here on the stream. You never know. But it came dangerously close to it, right? Came within about $100 of it right now as it sits. So we'll see what happens with Bitcoin. You have to catch a bounce though, right? So you have to catch a bounce. You are needing your bounce to be at the very least right here at the point of control, $96,600, right? In order to remain bullish on Bitcoin, you need a bounce here, or you could catch a bounce here. How do I zoom in? Let's just do that. Or you could catch a bounce here at $100,377, okay? Because now what we are in is a downward parallel. Okay. So you really need to catch your bounce right here. Okay. It's just what it is. That downward sloping parallel is a serious support level right now. So I would be looking for longs potentially at $100,600, depending on what Bitcoin looks like when we get down there. You have to let the charts tell you what the hell is going on at the time that you get down there, right? You can't say, oh, I'm longing here for sure. No, you can't say that. You say, this is an area of interest for me. Absolutely. This is an area of interest for potential longs, right? But with everything that's happening in the world right now, man, you have to take that type of stuff into account and say, hey, there's a lot of global and economic uncertainty as it sits right now. And usually Bitcoin is not the asset that benefits from that. It's gold. Okay. And as you can see, gold just bounced off the bottom into its parallel, right? Bang. And now it's trying to reclaim the 200 moving average. It's inching its way up there, man. It's inching its way up there. You get up above here, 33.80 on gold. I mean, it's looking good. But my point is that Bitcoin is just going to get continually dragged down by this bad boy right here, this guy, the S&P. Okay. So if you're not in the Nordic Alpha Discord, then you probably didn't know this. And if you are in the Nordic Alpha Discord, let me know in the comments section, right? Because if you were, first off, you took this trade because I gave this trade out, right? You took this trade right here, bang, and you killed it. And you had 2 chances to exit profitably at the bottom end of the range, right? So we gave out that trade. Secondarily, if you're in the Nordic Alpha Discord, this is on the S&P, okay? You also got a secondary entry right there once we took out the open of that day that had the swing high right here, right? And then guess what? Now you're here and you had not 1, not 2, but also 3 chances to exit. You hit the bottom perfect into that trend channel almost exactly, right? I'm in Nordic, but still scared to make my first trade stub and gotten anything to make a trading account. Dude, I get it, bro. Trust me, it is one of the most stressful markets in the entire world. I promise you that. The financial markets, it is one of the most stressful environments you can be in, okay? Trading. The one thing I will say, do it without any risk. I would always suggest people to trade paper accounts and understand how to get in and out of trades, understand your risk parameters and things of that sort. Open up a paper trading account, start taking some trades, man, and just get yourself familiarized with it. It's like kind of like whenever you're playing any sport ever known to mankind, right? I've got a son. He plays soccer. I don't just throw him right onto the field with, if he's a 6-year-old kid, he's not 6, obviously, but say he's 6 years old, right? And you're like, hey, you really want to play soccer, right? You don't just throw him onto the field with high schoolers or with college players or with Cristiano Ronaldo and his teammates, right? You say, hey, man, go out in the backyard and practice first with no one there to mess you up, to wreck you, to injure you, right? That's what I would suggest people doing in trading. Paper trade first, man. Paper trade first. Secondarily, I do have a training coming out to help people exactly like you, man. It's not going to be free, but it's also not going to be expensive. I'm not going to be out here charging $5,000 for a training like all these other people do. I'm not going to be out here charging $1,000 for that training like other people do. I'm not even going to be out here charging $500 for that training like other people do. At least not right off the bat. We get a bunch of people that are interested in it. Maybe you raise the price later. I don't know. May never raise the price. May raise the price by $50. Who knows? But what I can say is that when you see the price tag, you're not going to poop your pants. You're going to be like, oh, that's reasonable. So in any case, if you saw these trades, I mean, you're killing it on the S&P. We killed it on gold. We killed it on silver, right? We called this out. We called this level out. If you longed that, you're an animal. You're a badass, right? Everybody knew about this down or this upward sloping parallel. You know, if you took that trade, you're killing it. But, you know, would you have taken this trade immediately after losing the 200 moving average? Maybe not, right? Maybe wait for the confirmation up here at $3,380. That's a much safer trade. I would always suggest people trade safer than stupider, right? And here we go. Bang. We took out that swing low. There's your wick. Well, unfortunately, this is probably what you're going to see now on Bitcoin. Whatever the low is of this candle, obviously this is the low right now. I can't predict what the low is after this, right? We could continue to go down here. We could just bounce immediately, come down here, bounce, right? But in any case, these are the levels you're looking for. If you do somehow get a retrace back up here to this 0.618, dude, I would be shorting all day, right? You get a retrace to this 0.5, you can also be shorting all day, right? And the 0.382 is going to intersect. If you get this is your confirmation candle. If you know anything about how I teach, right? This is your breakdown candle that broke the bear flag, right? Let's pull this fib off here first. That's your breakdown candle, right? This will be your confirmation candle so long as you close under the close of that breakdown candle right here, okay? What you would do is you would wait for a bearish back test of this, and you do not want to close a candle back inside of this range. You enter on that back test, you target the measured move, or at the very least, the bottom end of the trend channel, which, surprise, surprise, they eventually do intersect on Monday, right? But you could just wick through it. You could hit it in any case, right? It's pretty simple. You know, trading is not supposed to be super complex. Well, actually, it is supposed to be super complex, and that's why people act like they're friggin' geniuses for, you know, being able to trade, right? But I can assure you that people of average intelligence can trade too. It's about taking your emotions off of the table. It's about being patient, and it's about understanding risk parameters. And if those three things are on point, you don't even have to have a basis for your trade. You can just literally blindfold yourself, throw a dart at a dartboard, pick an asset, pick long or short. And if you're right, you got a 50-50 chance, right? But if your risk parameters are proper, you won't lose money. You won't lose your shirt, right? So in any case, we've already hit the first support level, right? And this is something I taught inside of the NORDIC Alpha today, right? But how could you have understood that this move was coming, right? This big move. Well, first off, we knew that yesterday was Juneteenth, so there was like very light trading volume. Look at the trading volume that came in yesterday and the day before. This is your trading volume right down here, right? Look at that. Very, very small trading volume comparatively to these big peaks over here, right? So in any case, what happened? You pumped up, you reclaimed the 200 moving average, right? Or you tried to, and then you got a topping tail candle, which is this bad boy right here. That's a topping tail candle. That is a bearish candle that usually comes in at the top end of a range. And guess what? It was the highest volume candle too. Then what did you get? You got the tri-star at the top, and actually you got a quad star. So what is that? These are the quad candles right here. They're all doji star candles, right? Right after a topping tail. And then you got your confirmation candle right here. Bang. Showing you we've taken out this entire range, closed below it. Here's your fair value gap, right? This is your fair value gap. And then you enter short. Bang. You target at the very least the bottom end of the fair value gap. You leave a runner after you take profits. It ran through it. It bounced off of the bottom of that bear flag. Very simple trade. Nothing crazy. It bounced. It rejected from the 50. Boom. Now it's come down, broken outside of the bear flag, and we're confirming lower lows. Okay. So from an overarching perspective, let's take all this stuff off. From an overarching perspective, we are in a downtrend. Okay. I don't think anybody can refute that. This makes it pretty abundantly clear. Just with a parallel channel, right? Macro or micro. micro downtrend, right? And if you zoom out even further than that, right, you can see that macro wise, we're still technically in an uptrend and we've got a cup and handle. Do I have it on here? Does that look like an awful lot like a cup and handle to you at the top of this range, right? We can take this FRVP off too if you want me to. Does that look like a cup and handle? Yeah, it does. This kind of looked like a cup and handle too, and it broke down. I'm not saying that this is guaranteed to break out, but what I'm saying is you definitely have support. Guess where? $100,000, man. I mean, this stuff, it's almost like they tell you what's going on before it actually happens. And I definitely tell you what's going on before it happens inside of the Nordic Alpha Discord. If you want to get into it, man. It's less than $1 a day, man. It's less than literally you're going to spend on a shot of espresso. The only difference is that you're going to get actionable insights from me and another pro trader that literally, I do swing trades, day trades, intraday trades. This dude be scalping the absolute F out of Bitcoin and just murders it. JP trades, right? And I can't wait until my schedule clears up and I can join him in this, because I promise you, me and him, we're going to murder it together and it's going to get wild in there. So if you want to get into the Discord, I would suggest doing that now, because this is the least expensive that Discord will ever be, the Nordic Alpha Discord. In any case, it is the first link in the description. Feel free to do whatever you want to do with that information. If you happen to give a F. The measured move on this to 75% of the measured move, if you were to indeed break out of this cup and handle eventually, which your breakout point as it sits right now is just above 109.5, would be about $137,000. Okay. So that's new all-time highs on Bitcoin. So from a we'll call it underarching perspective, right here, we are in a micro downtrend. Okay. No big deal. Because guess what? Overall, we are in an uptrend. We are still above the 200 moving average. That's going to be a key level of support. Guess where that 200 moving average is on the daily chart? Right under the point of control, man. Right under the point of control. Where's my FRVP? Am I not playing my music? That's my bad. Where's my feel good techno? Look at that. From this low, just smacked into value area high. I mean, dude, I literally all day, every day. It plays out so. And look at that 200, the green line intersecting the point of control of this entire range from where we went parabolic right here and set a new all-time high above 67K all the way up until today. Bang, bang. Do with that information whatever you want to do. If you want to learn more, get into Nordic Alpha. That's all I can really say, man. You know, from a overarching perspective, uptrend, right? From an underarching perspective, downtrend, right? Now, how could you have known that this was the top? Just saying, TA works, man. It works if you understand it. It works if you can do it. Come learn how to do it. And I hope everybody has a good #Friday Pie Day with their beautiful families. We will see how this plays out. I appreciate you all so much for showing up. Sorry that I wasn't playing music until just now. With that being said, everybody have a good weekend. I will see you in the next stream very, very soon. I have some things that I'm building in the background. Give me about a week or two. They'll be done. And then I will also be streaming, going back to my regularly scheduled programming. And I will see you all soon. Have a wonderful day. Peace.